Hi, we've got Dr. Richard Callan here today, and he's going to tell us how us pet parents influence the health of our pets.
We also have Hayden Clues getting answers on how to choose the right pet, and Bonnie Sainsbury on how to properly identify your pet.
So welcome to the Genghis Show, a unique and informative and funny show about animals.
First up, the remarkable impact we pet parents have on our pets. Wait till you hear this.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Genghis Show, and we're here with Dr. Richard Callan, and what we're going to talk about today is how we affect our pets' health and their behavior. So Richard, you've got a pretty interesting story in relation to this. Please tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, I'd be happy to. It's an area that I find fascinating myself, and I've had to kind of learn over the years of interacting with animals to kind of know the truth of it for myself, because it's not a science that you can document that easily. But I'll give you an example of when I was just starting out in practice. I started a practice and it was busy, and there's always a million things going on at the same time, and when you're a business owner, you've got more than just your patients to be considering. So I was often kind of in a whirling energy state when I'd enter in the examination room, and the animals sensed it immediately. And
really? And how do you mean by that?
Well, I most noticed it because I had to handle them, obviously, to examine them, and they were anxious on the table because they were anxious because I was anxious.
So what you're saying is that the kind of the chaos or the busyness, hustle, bustle of your office and your energy was affecting.
Yeah, not being present. Animals are very present, and when you're not present, they really don't find you comfortable to be around.
Mm-hmm. Now, so have you adjusted how you approach your
Oh yeah, absolutely. At that time, I didn't know what I know today, and I recognized that I was the influence. So I would sit down, I would take a breath, I would try to get focused in what I was doing in that examination room at that particular time, so that the other stuff would kind of leave me. And then the animals responded beautifully. You know, they're okay. They're okay if you're present.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. Now, don't you also have your own personal experience of with your own dog?
Oh, more recently, yeah. I had a big lesson with my older border collie Puck, and she became diabetic. And previous, probably for many years, 5 years, I've been extraordinarily stressed myself, and it took its toll on my immune system. And so I had an immune system inflammatory condition involving many parts of the body. And this diabetes that my dog Puck has developed happened about 6 months ago. And I wasn't aware that my period of stress over the previous 5 years had been influencing her into this poor health. Diabetes in the dog is almost always an immune condition. The immune condition attacks the cells that produce the insulin. So only I can know the truth of this, because I had the experience of seeing her eyes register the effect of me being imbalanced because of my stress.
Wow, so you actually noticed the change in behavior in Puck.
But it's chronic. She'd been with me, and she's very, very close to me over, as I say, 5 years, whatever it's been. These things don't happen overnight. It's a gradual process. So I can say I know that I'm the influence only because of my experiences over many years, and then particularly seeing how I affected her at a particular moment, which was transmitted or communicated to me by the expression of her eyes.
Of course. Now, is she a lot better these days now that you've kind of changed your approach?
I'm hoping if I can really be Mr. Mellow, that she will not require insulin. It depends. Once the pancreatic cells get destroyed, they don't regenerate real well.
What about technology these days? We know everyone's connected to our devices, and we have our laptops and all these electronic devices. Do you think that affects the health of our pets as well?
Well, there are radiations, of course. We know EMFs, which are actually probably more important in human health than almost any other factor now, and that we're just discovering that. So, of course, they're going to be affected physiologically the same as we are. So, yeah, having Wi-Fi on overnight, having the animals sleep in an environment where your Wi-Fi, your router is located, or any apparatus which emits a lot of that electricity.
I wasn't aware of that. So we should even be turning off our Wi-Fi at night?
Yes, yeah, for both your own benefit and for the animals.
I don't know if anybody can do that these days. It's really tough to disconnect ourselves.
All I can say is we better learn, because it's having a big impact on our health.
Well, another thing that I've noticed, and I know I'm sure I'm guilty of this too, is when I'm walking Genghis, is that, you know, I'm on my device and sometimes I'm checking a message or something, and, you know, do you think that that also affects the behavior or health of our pets?
I think it affects our relationship with them, because animals are so much in the moment, so present. And when you go for a walk with them and you observe them, what they're doing, you participate with them, you really gain yourself. You kind of get connected into nature by just being with them. If you're on your phone, you're not there. You're somewhere else. You're not with them. I see young kids riding horseback, trying to become equestrians on the cell phone. And there's no animal like a horse in terms of being really sensitive to the communication of energy between rider and the horse.
Is that even possible, to be riding a horse and talking on a cell phone at the same time?
I guess if kids can ride a skateboard and talk on the phone and text, they can certainly do it on a horse.
Well, I guess we should really learn to be more in tune with our pets and really disconnect ourselves from our devices and
be in tune with ourselves, then we're in tune with our pets.
Great. Thanks again, Richard. And thank you very much for watching, and we'll have more for you next week.
I had no idea that pet parents have such a strong and dramatic impact on us. Man, I sure learned a lot. And if you want to learn more about the great benefits pet parents get when they own a dog, go to this website here.
The Genghis Show!
And now, let's go to Hayden Clues, who is at the Vancouver SPCA to talk to Kim Monteith.
Hi there, I'm Hayden Clues, and we're at the Vancouver branch of the SPCA once again. We're talking here with a beautiful dog named Coffee, a nice purebred, and we're also talking to Kim here too. And so Kim, why don't you give us the story down, we'll low down here on Coffee and kind of tell us where she came from.
Your coffee's getting spilled all over me.
Coffee's...
Just kidding. Coffee is a not quite 1 year old, purebred lab. He came down...
Oh, he, pardon me, sorry, he. No,
Oh,
my fault.
girl.
I did say she, I did say
sorry.
she.
He came in because, as you can see, he's a lot of dog.
Yes,
So
full of spunk and energy, that's for sure.
he was purchased from a breeder,
Okay.
and then someone had him realized he's a lot of dog, and then found another home. And again, he was too much for them, so they thank goodness they brought him to us, and now we're looking for a home for him.
Good,
Now
good.
you can tell he's a little outgoing.
Well, only a year and a half old, we say too, though. That's still a lot of energy and a lot of puppy to have. So
He is, and you know what? His line, maybe he's a field lab. So those labs are bred a little bit different than the other ones, the show ones, and they, are, you know, a little outgoing, a little bit more outgoing, a little bit energy, you know, doing what comes naturally. So
exactly, yeah.
you want to look into that, like when you're looking for a dog, and when you're looking for a breeder too, you want to
Yes.
make sure that you're checking them out, that you're getting references, that they're, you know, things like they're not breeding like 5 different types of
For sure.
breeds, right?
And what's the kind of breeder you want to try and find? Someone kind of along the proper lines,
One
you'd
that,
say.
if I was
Hey,
looking
Coffee, where you going,
at a breeder, I would be looking for one that really knows their breed, knows their line. They're important to them is their behavior. So they're making sure they're getting socialized. Their puppies are getting socialized. That they want quality. They want companion animals.
Yes, of
for
course.
people, you know,
For sure.
in our communities, which is what we want too. Here, I got a session for your.
Aha, there we are. There's probably something to keep a little more
Treat.
face attention. Hey, Coffee.
But this guy, he's going to need like outgoing, somebody who's, you know, already doing lots of outdoor activities.
For sure.
Having fun. He he was a little nervous of other dogs, believe it or not.
Oh,
And-
yeah, seems a bit off to be honest with you, but
But he just is just a love.
oh yeah, well I can tell already. But in Vancouver, it shouldn't be too hard to find somebody who's the outdoorsy type and constantly moving around, so that shouldn't be too big of a deal. But coffee is available for adoption here at the SPCA. My name is Hayden Clues. Thank you very much, Kim.
Thanks for that wonderful story, Aiden and Kim.
And don't forget, folks, we want you to be part of the show as well. So send us all your cute pictures and funny videos, and also your suggestions and comments to thegengisshow.com.
The Genghis Show.
And on this week's edition of Pet Social, Bonnie tells us on how to make sure your pet is properly identified.
Genghis and I were sad to see on the internet that someone's pet was stolen from a parking lot in a mall. And I want you to think about your having proper identification on your pet. And that means either a tattoo or a chip. It's very, very inexpensive. If your pet has been tattooed or chipped, then I'd like you to check to make sure that your contact information is up to date so that if the animal is found, you can be reunited quickly.
The Genghis Show.
And now for our latest edition of Pet Moments. And that's our show for this week.
We here at Team Genghis hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next week.